2 in the WTA finals after securing a straight sets victory over Angelique Kerber on Wednesday. The Spaniard needed just 1 hour and 38 minutes to dispose of her German opponent 6-4, 6-4 at the Singapore Indoor Stadium, and the victory moved her 2 points clear at the top of the white group. The other match in the group saw two-time major winner Petra Kvitova secure her first victory of the competition against the winless Lucy Safarova, with the 7-5, 7-5 success keeping her hopes of reaching the semi-finals alive. All four players are still in with a chance of qualifying for the last four, with Muguruza and Kvitova set to go head-to-head in their final group match, while Safarova will take on Kerber. We now turn our attention to cricket, and England coach Trevor Bayliss has backed his side to bounce back with a victory in the third test against Pakistan that begins on Sunday. The Three Lions currently trail 1-0 in the three-match series, following a draw in the first test in Abu Dhabi and a 178-run defeat in Dubai last time out. Alistair Cook's side can now only secure a draw at best in the series, but Bayliss for one believes the team have shown enough character on the tour to earn victory in Sharjah and finish the test encounters on level terms. He said, "It's probably been a very even 9 days of test cricket here, and unfortunately we played very poorly on day 3 of this last test, but I think the character that the boys showed on day 5 will stand us in good stead going forwards." We now turn our attention to rugby league, and Wakefield centre Joe Arundel has committed his long-term future to the club by signing a 2-year contract at Bellevue. The 24-year-old originally joined the Wildcats in February after negotiating his release from Hull FC, and he went on to score 4 tries in 23 appearances as the club successfully preserved their Super League status. The bat began his career at Castleford before joining Hull in 2013, but he struggled to feature on a regular basis for the Early Birds and spent most of the 2014 season on loan at Bradford Bulls before completing his switch to Wakefield. Arundel confirmed that he is relieved to have sorted his long-term future out, and he is looking forward to enjoying a full pre-season for the first time in 3 years. He said, "It's a fresh start for me and I cannot wait. I am looking forward to getting a proper pre-season under my belt, as I have not had one in 3 years. I want to make sure I get some quality work done with the coaching staff in pre-season." That's all for today's Evening Sports Bulletin.
These are your latest Stoke City headlines, and boss Mark Hughes hailed the fighting qualities of his players after they battled their way to a Capital One Cup win over Chelsea. Stoke took the lead in the 4th round tie in the 52nd minute through a superb Jonathan Walters strike, but saw Chelsea level just as the game seemed safe, with substitute Loic Remy converting an equaliser in stoppage time at the Britannia. Well, moments later, the Potters had Phil Barsley sent off, but the visitors could not make their man advantage count in extra time, as Stoke held on to take the game to a penalty shootout, which they won 5-4 after Jack Butland saved from Eden Hazard. Well, Butland's heroic turn in the shootout capped what was a final round display from the England goalkeeper. And Hughes said he made a number of saves. He made a couple in the first half when Chelsea were probably the better team. In the second half, I think we edged it with Jonathan Walters scoring a fantastic goal. I thought we had done enough in normal time to take the game away from them, and then there was great drama at the end. I'm just glad it's gone our way. Well, having lost at home to Watford in the Premier League at the weekend, Hughes was delighted with the character his side showed to keep Chelsea at bay during extra time, despite Barsley sending off. He said to pick ourselves up was difficult, but then losing Phil almost immediately meant we were down to 10 men with the walking wounded. We just had to stay in the game. We stuck at it, showed great determination, fantastic qualities from everybody to get to the penalties. All in all, it was a great performance that showed the character we have.
These are your latest Sunderland headlines. Sunderland midfielder Yaman Villa says the win over Newcastle on Sunday was the very best game he'd ever played in. Now, the on-loan Rubin Kazan star was one of 5 Black Cat stars experiencing their first ever taste of a North East derby. He was left speechless after the match. And Villa's no stranger to big games, having featured in the Milan derby last season, but he says the win over Newcastle and the atmosphere of the game surpassed even that. He said it was magnificent. It was the best match I've ever played in. I was involved in the Milan derby last season between Inter and AC, which is rated as one of the biggest games in the world, but it didn't have the same atmosphere as this one. Sunday was simply extraordinary, magnificent. Everybody's told me what to expect, but the supporters were truly fantastic. And of course we scored 3 times in front of our home crowd. It was a pleasure to play in such a game, and for our morale the win was very, very important. Moving on, Sunderland's hopes of landing striker Charlie Austin in the new year looked to be over after he claimed he was happy in West London. New Black Cats boss Sam Allardyce is expected to be handed a transfer kitty when the window opens in the new year. He's been linked with a move for the prolific QPR frontman. The Ars Hitman says he was not looking to leave the club this winter, though, despite the reported interest in his services. Austin is out of contract at the end of the campaign and would be free to discuss a Bosman transfer at the end of the season. He said, I can't see myself leaving in January because I'm concentrating on playing for Queen's Park Rangers. Finally today, Sunderland boss Sam Allardyce has challenged former England star Adam Johnson to become the club's match winner on a regular basis.
Goal! Goal! Goal!
Red Card Sports Radio.
These are your latest Swansea headlines. And Gary Monk should have all his frontline stars available to face Arsenal this weekend after Federico Fernandez swerved a ban and Wayne Routledge returned to training. Swansea received a welcome boost yesterday when the Football Association decreed that Fernandez would not be suspended after his bust-up with Micah Richards, who was actually charged in last Saturday's stormy win at Aston Villa. Well, the club also avoided any sanction despite a melee in the Villa Park tunnel after Monk's side chalked up a much-needed 2-1 victory. So as well as Fernandez being back fit, there was more good news concerning Wayne Routledge. He has been forced to sit out the last 2 games through injury, but he's back in training and it looks as though he will be available for the game against the Gunners. And finally, it looks as though Modou Barrow could be on the move again sooner rather than later. This following the reports that Swansea are in the hunt to sign the Tottenham winger Andros Townsend. Well, if that is the case, then Barrow is going to slip further down the pecking order. He was brought in or brought back to the club following a loan spell. This after Nathan Dyer left for Leicester on transfer deadline day, and Gary Monk did not have a time to bring in a replacement. So Barrow returned, but if Monk continues his pursuit of Townsend, then Barrow could be on the move. Of course, Swansea already have Jefferson Montero and Andre Ayew. They've been the first choice wide players for the Swans this season, and with Wayne Routledge now coming back to fitness, Barrow, even though he provides a strong alternative, looks set to be surplus to requirement just for now.
These are your latest Tottenham headlines. Mauricio Pochettino has reportedly been given the green light to move for Lille star Sofiane Boufal when the transfer window opened. The deal would see Spurs loan the Moroccan midfielder back to his parent club for the remainder of the season in France before he joined up with his new club next summer. Both Liverpool and Chelsea have been linked with the 22-year-old who was actually born in Paris and is valued at a massive $30 million by the League One side, where he has netted 4 goals in 10 league games this season. Seems an awful lot of money for such a young player, and it remains to be seen whether Spurs would be interested in that money. Meanwhile, Tottenham's hopes of signing Jamie Vardy in the January transfer window have been quashed by Leicester boss Claudio Ranieri. Vardy's been having the season of his life with 10 goals in the Premier League, and he's netted in the last 7 outings for the Foxes, as well as earning an England place under Roy Hodgson. This has naturally led to speculation of a move elsewhere, and Spurs as well as Liverpool have been linked as Mauricio Pochettino continues to search for a strike partner for Harry Kane. But Ranieri says he will not be moving on. He says Jamie Vardy will be staying with us. Nobody goes in January. We don't sell him. He's very happy here, and it's far too early to speak of transfers. Finally today, Tottenham wide man Andros Townsend looks set to leave the club on loan when the transfer window opens in the new year.
These are Wednesday's Watford headlines, and Watford boss Quique Sanchez-Flores says managing in England became a major goal of his after his Middle Eastern experience. The Spaniard signed a 2-year contract to take over at Vicarage Road back in June, and he's already endeared himself to the fans with some astute tactics in the club's first months back in the top flight. Flores says he decided that it was time he took on the challenge of a major European league again after spending 3 years in the United Arab Emirates with Al Ahly and Al Ain. He told Record, "I was very clear in my mind. I wanted a big league and was waiting to be able to get a team in Spain or England. I wanted to establish myself, and luckily I got that opportunity. Watford may seem modest, but this is a growing club. I had no doubt about taking the job because England was a goal. Spain is an open market. Portugal is also an excellent market, which I know. The Emirates was an enriching experience, but now I only had an interest in training in a major league, and there are not that many. We are now trying to establish the way of working, the method, and adapting ourselves to football and the local culture." Those are the words of Quique Sanchez-Flores. Meanwhile, Watford playmaker Jose Manuel Jurado says he would have no problem in joining Barcelona, despite his previous Real Madrid connections. The 29-year-old came through the youth ranks at the Bernabeu, making almost 100 appearances for Real's B team and a handful for their senior side before moving on to rivals Atletico. Jurado says he had the option to join Barca as a schoolboy, but preferred to make the move from his home club in Cadiz to the capital. He told Don Balon, "I had the opportunity aged 14, but I decided on Real Madrid and have no regrets. Yes, of course I would play at Barca. It's one of the best teams in the world." And finally, reports in Portugal claim Porto are keen to make Miguel Layun's loan move a permanent deal. It would cost them around €6 million. These are Wednesday's West Brom headlines. And Brighton and Hove Albion want to sign forgotten Baggies fullback Sebastian Pogognoli on a short-term loan deal until January. And the Belgian is understood to be keen to get some regular football again after making only one senior appearance for the club since Tony Pulis' first game in charge against Gateshead 10 months ago. Pogognoli made 16 appearances during Alan Irvin's short stint as head coach at the Hawthorns last season, but Pulis has preferred Chris Brunt at left back, with Pogognoli's only appearance this season coming in the Capital One Cup defeat at Norwich City last month. Well, the 28-year-old defender said he didn't understand why he'd been banished from the lineup when he last spoke about his situation back in April. But his prospects haven't changed, and Brighton boss Chris Hughton is reportedly keen on adding a fullback to bolster the Seagulls' unexpected promotion push. Meanwhile, it seems like Salomon Rondon and Claudio Yacob have hit it off both on and off the pitch and become close friends. The Venezuelan international may have only played a handful of games since he arrived from Zenit St. Petersburg, but he's been quick to spot just how crucial Yacob is to the team, and told the club's website, "Claudio is a very good man and a superb player. He's very important for Albion. He's been at the club for a long time and he's a key player. Claudio is very solid in the middle and he always performs well. He's difficult to play against and not many things get past him. My job as an attacker is to score goals, but I'm happy to have Claudio in my team to stop other sides scoring. I love playing with him." Those are the words of Salomon Rondon.
You're listening to Red Card Sports Radio.
These are your latest West Ham United headlines. The Hammers are said to be considering a move for Brazilian striker Alexandre Pato, who looks surplus to requirements. The 26-year-old is contracted to Corinthians but has been on loan at Sao Paulo since February 2014 after falling out with his club. Pato suggested over the summer that he would like to try his hand in England and was linked with the switch to the Hammers. The former AC Milan star had previously been linked with Tottenham and Crystal Palace, but he joined Corinthians in 2013 for £12 million. Things have not gone so well since then, and he's now being linked with a move to England again. Whether the Hammers would really be interested, as their current strike force has pushed them into third in the Premier League, remains to be seen. Could just well be his agent trying to get his man a move. Meanwhile, Andy Carroll says teammate Aaron Creswell will now be hoping the striker stops badgering him for crosses after Saturday's victory. The England striker had admitted he's been constantly telling the defender, who is one of the best crossers in the division, to put the balls into the box and he will get on the end of them. That is exactly what he did against Chelsea, of course, and got the winner. Creswell did exactly what he was told and provided the perfect cross for the injury-prone striker to power home and get the Hammers to a famous win. Carl said, "I keep saying to Cres to put those balls in, and he's just said to me in the dressing room that I can shut up for a couple of weeks now because I've always been on at him. As soon as I came in, I was trying to get on the end of it. It might be a typical Andy Carroll goal, but I'll take it." Finally today, West Ham striker Mauro Zarate has ruled out a title tilt for the Hammers, but says they are capable of a top four finish. These are your latest Wolverhampton Wanderers headlines. Conor Cody can't wait for his first taste of a West Midlands derby against Birmingham this weekend. Wolves travel down the M6 desperate to reverse their losing trend, having been defeated in the past 3 matches. They couldn't have asked for a much sterner test in the in-form Gary Rowett's resurgent Blues side, who currently sits 6th in the table. But Cody's backed Wolves to take the positive out of Saturday's defeat to Middlesbrough and get a result at St Andrews. He said, "I can't wait. Everybody at the club is looking forward to it. It's massive for us. It's massive that we come away with a good result. A lot of the boys have grown up watching derbies. For myself, I grew up watching Liverpool versus Everton. I've played in Huddersfield versus Leeds last season. I know all about derbies and the boys are buzzing for it. We're looking at the next 3 games now before the international break, with Bristol City away and Burnley at home to follow. We need to go in with the right mindset and take the positives from Middlesbrough." Cody endured a frustrating spell on the sidelines recently after being sent off during last month's draw with Brighton. A 3-game ban was followed by another 2 games out of the team, with Kenny Jackett electing to pair Kevin McDonald with Jack Price in midfield, but Cody knows that it's part and parcel of football. He said, "I'm delighted to have been back in the team. Unfortunately, There have been a couple of disappointing results. Last Wednesday against Brentford was unacceptable, and on Saturday we should have come away with a result. I always knew I was part of a talented squad, and these things being left out would happen, but I never am going to be one to sulk. Don't get me wrong, I was disappointed not to be involved, but I'll always support the lads, and those in the team were doing fantastically well.
These are your latest Arsenal headlines. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Theo Walcott will be sent for scans after picking up injuries in the Capital One Cup defeat against Sheffield Wednesday. Both England internationals hobbled off in the opening 20 minutes at Hillsborough. Oxlade-Chamberlain with a hamstring problem and his replacement Theo Walcott due to a calf problem. And the extent of the injuries will not be determined until they have a scan within the next 48 hours. Well, the Gunners' night got worse after those withdrawals as a superb Wednesday side blew their below-par opponents away, thanks to goals from Ross Wallace, Lucas João and Sam Hutchinson. Well, Wenger said the injuries are two muscular injuries. How big the damage is, I don't know. We have to make scans and we have to wait 48 hours for the scan. It was a bad night at the office for us. We lost the two players and after that we were not good enough. I have to manage the workload of the players, and at the end of the day, I still think I maybe brought too many experienced players here. Wenger went on to say, we lost two players, and after that I had Gabriel and Monreal on the bench, but I couldn't bring them on because I couldn't afford to lose any more players. I am concerned. We have a big game against Swansea on Saturday. We have Bayern in the Champions League coming up already. We are short. To lose two players tonight is damaging for us. Two offensive players. And finally, Arsenal continued to be linked with a move for Sevilla midfielder Grzegorz Krychowiak ahead of a potential January swoop. Reports in the Spanish press claim the Gunners intend to make a £21 million move for the defensive midfielder, who they also describe as a target for Manchester City.
These are your latest Barcelona headlines, and Copa del Rey holders Barcelona begin their defence of their trophy when they go to third-tier Villanovense for the first leg of their last 32 tie on Wednesday evening. The match has been brought forward from the first midweek in December because of Barcelona's involvement in the World Club Cup in Japan at the end of the year, and so the Catalans make the trip to the small town of Vilanova de la Serena, while the rest of La Liga enjoys a midweek off. Still without the injured Lionel Messi, Barca coach Luis Enrique has also opted to rest the likes of Neymar, Luis Suarez, Gerard Piqué, Sergio Busquets and Claudio Bravo for the game against opponents from the region of Extremadura in western Spain. Moving on, and reports claim Barcelona will double Neymar's wages and he won't be leaving Barcelona. It's thought that the Spanish Giants will double Neymar's wages in a crazy new contract to make him the third highest paid player in the world. The club have made it clear that they intend to sign him on a new deal, and word is they will pay him £500,000 per week. Only Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, who are said to be paid £565,000 per week and £550,000 per week respectively, make more. The new deal will apparently leave Manchester United with absolutely no hope of bringing the Brazilian to Old Trafford. Finally today, it's been reported that Barcelona are one of a number of clubs who could rival Juventus for Sassuolo's Domenico Berardi. Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United and others have been linked with the Italian under-21 international.
This is Red Card Sports Radio.
These are your latest Bayern Munich headlines, and Thomas Müller was full of praise after Bayern eliminated DFB Pokal holders Wolfsburg. Well, Müller was thrilled with the club's performance in their 3-1 win on Tuesday. Müller scored twice and set up the other in a 20-minute first-half blitz as Bayern sent holders Wolfsburg packing from the competition. And the 26-year-old Germany international could not have been happier with Bayern's display. He said, you always intend to do this and that, but then you have to go out and do it on the pitch. In the first half, we were flawless. We made very, very few technical mistakes and we controlled the ball well with sustained attacking moves. We just played superbly and defended with discipline. It was just like we wanted it. Well, the win over Wolfsburg was Bayern's 13th in their past 14 games in all competitions as their fantastic start to the season continues. And finally, according to reports, Bayern Munich could hijack any move Manchester United make for Real Madrid ace Gareth Bale. That's according to the reports. Reports in the Spanish press said the German champions are looking to Bale as a replacement for Arjen Robben, who has struggled with injuries in recent seasons. Well, the 26